Hello everyone. Today I am going to speak about sulfonamides, which are group of antimicrobial agents. I hope uh, you have seen the lecture on the introduction to chemotherapy by Dr. Rahul Kunklo sir. So this is the second lecture in this series. Let us start with today's lecture. So we will be discussing about the history of sulfonamides in short, and the classification, how sulfonamides are classified, their mechanism of action which is common to all members of sulfonamides, the antibacterial spectrum which is similar to all of them, and the pharmacokinetics, their uses, adverse effects and contraindications, as well as the drug-drug interactions of sulfonamides. And we will be also discussing about the drug combination of cotrimoxazole. The sulfonamide group of drugs are the first antimicrobial agents that were used in the human history for bacterial infections, and this was invented by Domack in 1930 in the form of prontosil dye, which had an active entity, that is the sulfonilamide group. This sulfonamide group of drugs are chemically similar to the carbonic anhydrase group of diuretics, thiazide diuretics, furosemide, and even sulfonylurea group of drugs which are used for diabetes. These are chemically similar but not having any antibacterial activity. The sulfonamides are classified based on whether they are used systemically or topically. So orally absorbable drugs that are used systemically are again classified into short acting, intermediate acting and long acting. The duration of action of these drugs is an important characteristics by which they are used in combination with other drugs which have the similar pharmacokinetic properties. The orally non-absorbable agent, that is sulfasalazine, is mostly used for inflammatory diseases like ulcerative colitis or rheumatoid arthritis, and the topical agents like sulfacetamide sodium, mafenide and silver sulfadiazine are used topically. Let us see the mechanism of action of these drugs. The bacteria synthesizes folic acid by these series of chemical reactions. First of all, para-aminobenzoic acid attaches with pteridine to form dihydroteroic acid in the presence of dihydroteroate synthetase. This dihydroteroate again converts into dihydrofolate in the presence of dihydrofolate synthetase, and which later on is converted into tetrahydrofolate in the presence of dihydrofolate reductase. So this tetrahydrofolate is the active form of folic acid, which is important for nucleoside synthesis and in turn synthesis of the genetic material. So this is a very critical chemical interaction that goes in bacteria. Bacteria cannot use the preformed folic acid. They prepare their own folic acid and use it. And this is the difference between human beings and bacteria, that human beings accept the preformed folic acid, and therefore any chemical interaction disturbance in this series of chemical interactions will not be responsible for any kind of human toxicity. So sulfonamides act on the dihydroteroate synthetase so that there is no formation of the active form of folic acid in the bacteria, and this occurs because sulfonamides and para-aminobenzoic acid are chemically similar, so that instead of PABA, sulfonamide attaches to dihydroteroate synthetase. So this is how there is no formation of active folic acid, and therefore the synthesis of the DNA is interrupted. The sulfonamides are active against a large spectrum of bacteria, Among the gram-positive ones, they are active against streptococci, even some strains of staphylococci. They are also active against gram-negative organisms like H. influenzae, that is Haemophilus influenzae, which is responsible for the respiratory infections like otitis media, pneumonia, or other kinds of upper respiratory infections. It is also active against Haemophilus duceri, which causes chancroid, which is a genital infection that occurs in males. It also inhibits C. granulomatis, Vibrio cholerae, and chlamydia. Chlamydia are responsible for genital infections as well as inclusion conjunctivitis. These group of drugs also inhibit the gonococci, meningococci, which are the cocci group of drugs. These drugs also inhibit fungi like Nocardia and Pneumocystis carinii. Nocardia causes nocardiasis and Pneumocystis carinii causes pneumonia in neutropenic patients as well as patients suffering from AIDS who have a lower immunity. This group of drugs also inhibit protozoa like toxoplasma, which causes toxoplasmosis, more commonly in neutropenic patients as well as patients suffering from HIV infection. It also inhibits Plasmodia, species of protozoa which causes malaria. Bacterial resistance to sulfonamides are rapidly developed. Therefore, sulfonamides as a single agent are not preferred for antibacterial therapy. The bacterial resistance might be due to increase in the synthesis of para-aminobenzoic acid by bacteria, which will then compete with sulfonamides to bind with dihydropteroid synthetase. Bacterial folate synthetase enzyme has low affinity for sulfonamides, so synthesis of such an enzyme which will have less affinity to sulfonamides can again lead to resistance. Some bacteria develop resistance by actively throwing out the sulfonamides from the cytoplasm, and adoption of an alternative pathway for folate metabolism that can again override the mechanism of sulfonamide. Let us look at the pharmacokinetics. These group of drugs, they are very well absorbed from the oral route. Most of the drugs have a better albumin binding, and depending upon how much binding do they have, their duration of action differs. A drug that has more albumin binding or plasma protein binding has a longer action, because then more of the drug is stored and slowly released, so that the drug is having a longer duration of action. While a drug like sulfadiazine, which has a less plasma protein binding, it will have a short duration of action, but this drug has an instant action. That is why it is a rapidly acting antibacterial agent. Plasma protein binding also has an important role with the respect of drug-drug interactions that we will see later on. These group of drugs are metabolized by acetylation, and due to differences in the genetic makeup of different humans, there are either slow acetylators or fast acetylators, so that the drug will have rapid metabolism in some and slow metabolism in others. And the acetylation products that are formed after metabolism of sulfonamides, these products are inactive and they do not have any bactericidal effects, but still they have the same pharmacodynamics in terms of adverse effects. All adverse effects seen with sulfonamides are seen with its acetylation products. These products are less soluble in acidic medium, that is, they will precipitate in acidic urine. So that is one of the problems that can be seen with these products. After metabolism, these drugs are excreted through urine, and most of the drug is concentrated in urine by the kidney, so that the concentration of the drug in urine is more than that in the plasma. This has one advantage, that it can be used for urinary tract infection, while a disadvantage is that these drugs will precipitate in the acidic urine, leading to crystalluria and other complications. two drugs, that is sulfacetamide and sulfadiazine, they cross the eye, and while being used as an eye drop, they can enter into the aqueous humor. So these group of drugs are used for conjunctivitis. These drugs are bacteriostatic, that is why round the clock maintenance of the plasma concentration of these drugs is very much important to have their effect. If these drugs are not given frequently depending upon their plasma half-life, there will be failure of therapy. Sulfacetamide sodium is one of the topically used drugs. It is mildly irritating to the eye, and it is used for infections of chlamydia including ophthalmia neonatorum. So this drug is only used by topical route. Mafenide is another drug that is used topically, and it is used for infections that could happen due to patients of burns where there is breach of continuity of the skin. So these drugs are active even in pus, and mainly active against pseudomonas and clostridia, which are not inhibited by other sulfonamides. So these drugs are used for dressing of burn patients, and these drugs will not be effective if there is already infection to the burn wounds. Silver sulfadiazine is another drug like mafenide, which can be used topically for burn wound or chronic ulcers. This is used in the form of 1% cream. When applied locally, the silver ions are released from it, which also have antimicrobial action. While caution has to be taken when it is applied to large areas, it will show more of the adverse effects in the form of allergic interactions over the skin, and it is not useful for established infection. So one thing that we have to bear in the mind is that most of the sulfonamides are not used topically, because when these drugs are absorbed from the abraded skin or any other part, they will enter into the body and lead to sensitization to these drugs, so that allergic reactions will be seen with them. Sulfasalazine is another drug which is not used for its antibacterial action, but it is used for anti-inflammatory effect. Sulfasalazine is made up of a bond between the two chemicals, that is 5-amino-salicylic acid and sulfapyridine. This 5-amino-salicylic acid has an anti-inflammatory effect. It is not absorbed through the intestine and is effective in ulcerative colitis. So let us see the adverse effects of sulfonamides. These drugs can cause nausea and vomiting, which is the only adverse effect that is seen with sulfonamides. Stomatitis might be seen in a few patients. The sulfonamides and its acetylated metabolites both are concentrated in urine, which leads to precipitation more so in the acidic environment, so that there is formation of crystalluria, there might be albuminuria, even hematuria in severe cases. So how this can be prevented is, we ask the patient to drink plenty of water, at least 1200 ml per day. That is the minimum that can be advised. And you can use alkalinizing agents so that the urine is alkalinated, and that is how the crystals will dissolve. There is one drug, that is sulfasalazine, which is not having which does not precipitate in acidic urine, so that can be an alternative drug even when we want to use a sulfonamide and avoid these renal adverse effect. Hypersensitivity reactions are very common with sulfonamides. These reactions include drug fever, urticaria, rashes, arthritis, serum sickness in the form of fever, joint pain, and urticaria all over the body. So these combines to form serum sickness. It can lead to hemolysis owing to its oxidative damage to the hemoglobulin. So that is why these drugs are not to be given in G6PD deficient patients. Kernicterus can be seen in newborns and infants when the drug is given to mothers who are pregnant or breastfeeding. This kind of adverse effect is seen in babies because their blood brain barrier is not well developed and bilirubin can easily enter into the brain. And the second thing that occurs is when sulfonamides is given, it will displace the bilirubin that is attached to albumin, so that more amount of free bilirubin can now cross the blood brain barrier and lead to its harmful effect on the CNS of the newborn baby or infant, leading to a CNS complication known as kernicterus. So that is why this drug is not preferred or contraindicated in pregnant mothers, nursing mothers, and infants. There is a syndrome known as Stevens-Johnson syndrome, which is an exudative type of adverse drug reaction in the form of erythema multiforme that is seen over a large part of surface area of the body on the skin as well as mucous membrane. So this kind of syndrome is lethal. If the drug is withdrawn, it might regress at its own. Various drug-drug interactions are seen with the sulfonamide drugs, like when given along with sulfonylureas, which are group of drugs used for diabetic patients. These are oral hypoglycemic agents which release insulin from the pancreas and lead to decrease in the blood glucose levels. So when sulfonamides are added along with sulfonylureas, they displace sulfonylureas from their albumin binding site and lead to more of release of insulin, indirectly leading to hypoglycemic status. So that is why these two drugs are not to be combined together. Drugs like warfarin and phenytoin, they have similar plasma protein binding characteristics, and when given along with sulfonamides, they displace these drugs from their plasma protein binding site. Displacement of these two drugs mean that their concentration in the blood will increase, as both of these drugs have a low therapeutic index. The increased levels of warfarin in blood can lead to bleeding disorders, while increased phenytoin in the blood can lead to its toxic effect. Procaine and other local anesthetics which have the PABA containing chemical composition, that is para-amino benzoic acid, which is one of the compounds that interacts with the dihydrothyroid synthetase. So sulfonylureas will have a hard time to compete with the PABA that is given along and can lead to its decreased efficacy. So that is why while using local anesthetics like Procaine, precaution has to be taken accordingly. So as already discussed, the drug is not to be given in pregnant women, nursing mothers and infants under 6 weeks. The reason for this we have already discussed. These drugs are not to be given in renal or hepatic failure because this drug is excreted through kidney and acetylated in liver. It is also to be avoided in blood disorders. I have not mentioned the other adverse effects of sulfonamides, one of which is thrombocytopenia, granulocytopenia, and in very rare cases aplastic anemia. So this group of drugs have a very major effect on the blood components. That is why they are to be avoided in blood disorders. Let us see the uses of these drugs as monotherapy. Systemically, these drugs are used for urinary tract infections and nocardiosis, while topically it is used on the skin for burn wounds or any other lesions in the form of silver sulfadiazine and mafenide. Sulfasalazine is used for ulcerative colitis, while sulfacetamide eye drops are used for trachoma, that is inclusion conjunctivitis. There are fixed dose combinations of the sulfonamide group of drugs. Sulfadoxine plus pyrimethamine is a combination that is used as an anti-malarial drug combination. Sulfadiazine and pyrimethamine is used for toxoplasmosis, which is more commonly used in patients of AIDS who are having toxoplasma infections. And sulfamethoxazole plus trimethoprim combination, that is known as cotrimoxazole, that we will discuss now. So these combinations are very much synergistic because the first group of drugs, that is sulfonamides, will inhibit the dihydropteroid synthetase, while the other drugs that we have seen like trimethoprim will inhibit the dihydrofolate reductase enzyme, and which will again sequentially block the synthesis of tetrahydrofolate. Now this trimethoprim or other antifolate drugs that we have seen, they have more specific action on bacterial dihydrofolate reductase. More specific action doesn't mean that they do not have any action on the human dihydrofolate reductase, but still the activity is around 1000 times more in bacteria. That is why their toxicity on the bacteria is more as compared to that on human. The drug combination, that is sulfamethoxazole plus trimethoprim, is given in the dose of 5:1, that is 5 part sulfamethoxazole and 1 part trimethoprim. But after giving such a combination, the plasma concentration comes to a ratio of 20:1. This is because trimethoprim has a more volume of distribution, while the sulfonamide group of drugs, they are mainly concentrated in extracellular fluid. So that is the reason why the ratio of 5:1 becomes 20:1 when it goes to the plasma. This combination is synergistic as discussed because of the sequential block that will effectively block all of the synthesis of folic acid in the bacteria. The preparation for this cotrimoxazole contains either the 400 mg plus 80 mg tablet or a double strength tablet, that is 800 plus 160. The cotrimoxazole combination has adverse drug reactions that are shared by both sulfonamides, that is the sulfamethoxazole and trimethoprim. The adverse drug reactions seen due to trimethoprim are the teratogenicity, because being an antifolate drug, there will be teratogenic effect seen when a pregnant woman takes cotrimoxazole combination. The folate deficiency can lead to neural tube defects and other teratogenic effects. When taken in a patient who has already folate deficiency, this can lead to megaloblastic anemia, because megaloblastic anemia is one of the features of folic acid deficiency. Again, glossitis and stomatitis can be seen when this combination is used. This type of adverse drug reaction is also seen with sulfonamides and also with trimethoprim. Impairment of renal function and hyperkalemia is also seen with trimethoprim. So these, along with these adverse drug reactions, all the adverse drug reactions that are seen due to sulfonamides are also seen with this combination. More so, the adverse effects of sulfonamides are exaggerated in the presence of trimethoprim. The uses of cotrimoxazole are more as compared to that of the single monotherapy use of sulfonamides. So cotrimoxazole are very useful group of combinations. The other two combinations that I have already shown, they are also very much useful. Cotrimoxazole is used for urinary tract infections in the form of lower urinary tract infections or the chronic recurrent infections of the urinary tract or bacterial prostatitis. The reason that this combination is used for urinary tract infection is that these drugs are bactericidal when combined, first of all. Second, they concentrate in the urine, and thirdly, they have synergistic effect when given together. Even the prostatic fluid is concentrated with sulfonamides and trimethoprim also. That is why urinary tract infections are commonly treated with the combination is used for some gastrointestinal infections, while it was used more predominantly during the previous decades. It is less commonly used now because of the emergence of resistance. It was once used for typhoid infections, traveler's diarrhea and other forms of dysenteries, but now less commonly used and is replaced by other group of drugs. It is used as an adjunct to the MRSA infections, that is methicillin resistance Staphylococcus aureus infections. It is also used for respiratory tract infections like the acute exacerbations of chronic bronchitis that occurs mainly in COPD patients, acute otitis media in children, as well as sinusitis in adults, which is caused generally by the Haemophilus influenzae and S. pneumoniae bacteria. The pneumonia that is caused in AIDS patient, that is by Pneumocystis jirovecii, drug of choice, cotrimoxazole is a drug of choice. It is also used for prevention of this infection, that is Pneumocystis jirovecii, in neutropenic as well as AIDS patients. So it is used for both treatment as well as prophylaxis. Chancroid, that is the genital lesion seen due to infection by Haemophilus duceri, is treated with cotrimoxazole. Granuloma inguinalis, granuloma inguinal caused by the C. granulomatosis, is also treated with cotrimoxazole. Nocardiosis and brucellosis, these are other infections for which cotrimoxazole is used. Now there has been a shift towards the guidelines of treatment of such infections. The preferred drugs are now erythromycin, ceftriaxone or ciprofloxacin. These erythromycin is a macrolide, ceftriaxone is a cephalosporin, and ciprofloxacin is a fluoroquinolone. So all these group of drugs you will be seeing in the later series of lectures. Then doxycycline is a tetracycline which is more preferred for granuloma inguinal, and even for brucellosis, doxycycline gentamicin combination is preferred over cotrimoxazole. So in a gist, the uses of cotrimoxazole are urinary tract infections, gastrointestinal tract infections, the respiratory infections, the Pneumocystis jirovecii infections, chancroid and granuloma inguinal. So in this lecture we have seen the sulfonamide group of drugs are drugs which inhibit the synthesis of folic acid by inhibiting dihydropteroid synthetase enzyme, which is more prevalently present in the bacteria. This group of drugs have characteristic pharmacokinetic properties, like they have high plasma protein binding, they are used orally, and they are metabolized by acetylation. The drug is concentrated in urine and other extracellular fluids. They have different duration of actions depending upon their plasma protein binding capabilities, and this group of drugs have adverse effects of most of the times allergy, and these interactions are seen more frequently when added to antifoliate drugs like trimethoprim. We have seen the different spectrum of antibacterial effects that these drugs show. We have also seen the drug combinations that are used, and later on we have dwelled on the cotrimoxazole, which is a combination of sulfomethoxazole plus trimethoprim, how this combination is synergistic, what are its uses, what are the contraindications. And that is all from my side. Thank you very much for your patient listening.